Well, we've reached the end of the month, so therefore it's time yet again to go through all the CDs I picked up throughout the month. Unlike last month, I didn't get nearly as many. I think I got like half, so that means I'm going to be showcasing at least 30 albums here. And if you're new to these CD hauls, I'm just going to give my first impressions on a lot of these, and most of these are big contenders for the end of the year top 50 discoveries. So as always, if you enjoy my monthly CD haul videos, please give this video a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and feel free to comment your thoughts on any of the albums I'm going to be showing, and you can go ahead and share what you picked up this month. Alright, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Bryer's Music Showcase is brought to you by the people over at Patreon. Pledge today and get access to exclusive perks. Link in the description. So we're going to begin the CD haul with the shortest segment, and that of course are going to be the album exchange CDs. So again, we have a CD haul coming up soon, and I had to pick up 2 of the 3 nominees because I had Scott's already. He nominated Achtung Baby by U2. So I just needed to get Nick's and Jason's. So Jason recommended Bruce Hornsby and The Range with the album The Way It Is. And then we have Nick's nomination. We have The Temptations with The Temptin' Temptations. So again, this is going to be the shortest segment because, as you know, I don't really go in depth because I know my friends watch these videos and I don't want to spoil my reviews on these because we haven't done it yet. But if you want to eventually hear my more in-depth thoughts, then go ahead over to Jason's channel. Again, I'll leave a link to it in the description so you can check it out, and all the other album exchanges we've done in the past. And now we move on to the next segment, and this is the progressive rock section. I didn't get as many again from last month, but I got more than I thought I would. So the first 2 albums are from the same band, kind of more obscure. I literally found them out from a random YouTube video. And they're a German band, and this band is called Birth Control. Now before I actually showcase the album covers, viewer discretion advised, I guess, because Germany does not give a fuck about their album covers. They do what the hell they want. So, just fair warning. So I have I think this is their second album. This is called Operation. This was from 71, I believe, and you can see this grasshopper eating babies for some reason. And then we have their next album, Hoodoo Man, with this really, really bizarre depiction of a big woman. So, yeah, again, Germany, what's up with your album covers? But that aside, so again, they're kind of a prog band, and they also have a little bit of a hard rock edge to them. But one big thing that's really great about these 2 albums is that the Hammond organ playing is phenomenal. Like, again, if you love Hammond organ, you should probably check these albums out. They're very good. But of these 2, I think I prefer Operation just a little bit more. I think this one definitely rocks a bit heavier. This one does rock, but not as many times. It's definitely a bit more chill might not be a good word, because again, there's still some very good heavy moments. But again, I just found myself more inclined with this one, just a tad. But both these are really strong albums. I definitely would recommend these if you're interested. But again, these album covers, I swear. And I've looked into their other albums, and yeah, the rest of the discography album covers aren't that much better. Anyway, but again, some really good discoveries here. Moving along, we have a very well-known prog band, and that is Emerson, Lake and Palmer with their second album, Tarkus. And I had to get this. This has been on my list for a long time because this was the only 70s album I did not have. I had every other studio album from them. I don't have the live album. What was it? Pictures at Exhibition. I don't own that one because, again, that's a live album. I don't count it. But in terms of the studio albums, this was the only one from that classic run I didn't have. and very glad I actually do have it because it's a pretty good album. I mean, yeah, Tarkus, the title track, is by far the greatest song, and many people say that side 2 is kind of the weak link of this entire thing, but there were some decent songs I liked on here. I don't think there's really a song I didn't like, except maybe the last song, Are You Ready, Eddie, which is kind of like a little nod to the producer. But the songs on side 2 are actually pretty decent. It's just a shame because, again, Tarkus kind of overshadows everything. But still, I think it's still worth checking out. Again, you still have a really cool artwork with the armadillo tank, which is very, very fascinating to look at. But still, pretty good. I like it quite a bit. And now we have another obscure band, and I'm going to see if I can pronounce their name. They're called Grobsnit. Again, I very much doubt I said that right. I apologize. But this album is called Rock Pommel's Land. And the reason why I got this, because I saw the album cover and I think to myself, oh wow, it's another Roger Dean cover, because it seems like something he would do. But after doing some research, I found out, no, it's actually not a Roger Dean album artwork. It's kind of Roger Dean inspired. Fooled me. Like, come on, if you look at this cover, you kind of would have thought it was Roger Dean too, right? Anyway, so yeah, another obscure prog band. I want to say they're German again. If I'm wrong, I'll correct myself. They're German, Swedish, somewhere around there. It was one of those blind buys. I was pleasantly surprised. Again, only 5 songs in total, but I thought the playing was, again, pretty good. Vocals were pretty solid through and through. And for 4 songs, I think it's definitely a interesting listen. Although I've done research on them, and I know that they're kind of known for that experimental sound, but I know lyrically they're known for being a little bit more tongue-in-cheek. Like, lyrically they are not quite taking it that seriously, but musically they definitely are going above and beyond. But again, I'm not sure if this will be for everybody, but if you're interested, yeah, go ahead, take a listen. It's funny that a lot of the more foreign acts I have, they're even the Birth Control, like this and Birth Control, they're all singing in English, so you'll still be able to follow along, I think. Now here's another interesting one. We have Patrick Moraz, and this is his album called The Story of I. And it's represented by this symbol here, kind of pulling a Prince almost. So Patrick Moraz, for those who don't know, he's a keyboardist. He was pretty well known in the 70s. Of course, I was introduced to him because he pretty much was a member of Yes very briefly. He only appeared on one album, and that was one of my personal favorite Yes album, Relayer. And his keyboard playing was really good here. So when I saw this, I thought, might as well check out a solo album from him. And it's fine. I wasn't fully invested though, because it's mainly an instrumental album. It's a concept album too, but again, if you're just listening to it, you're kind of not fully aware of what the story is. I mean, unless you go online and look it up, then you have a guide with you, you might be able to grasp what's actually happening. But if you have no idea what the story is, you're not going to be too glued to this one, at least to me. Again, there's still some nice playing on here. I mean, the keyboard goes without saying, but I don't really find myself going back to this album all that often. It's fun, it's cool to have a Patrick Moraz solo album in the collection, but whether I give it another listen, we'll see. But I don't know, just wasn't fully into that one for some reason. But if you like that, if you like keyboard playing, yeah, check it out. And the last prog album I picked up is going back to Italy. We have, and again, I still haven't fully figured out how to say the band's name. Premiata Forneria Marconi. And this is their first album called Storia di un Minuto. So, yeah, I picked up another album from PFM. I can't remember, I'm not going to say the album I bought last month, but it was their album from 1974, and I thought it was a pretty solid album. But after I knew I had to get this one because most people usually cite this one as definitely the best album, and I can see why. I think so far this is my favorite. I definitely prefer this over the last one I picked up. I don't know, this one definitely grabbed me a lot more. Again, I definitely do need to re-listen to the other PFM album I have, just so I can compare. But this was really nice. Again, really good musicianship on here. Great vocals too. I feel like this one definitely showcased the vocals just a little bit more. Yeah, everyone in the band was really good. And really interesting artwork too. Like, I should probably showcase the artwork on this one. That's the one thing I don't know if I said this last month, but think about the Italian prog scene. I really enjoy a lot of their album covers. They look really fascinating. But yeah, if you're gonna get into PFM, yeah, I would say start with this first. I think you'll have some good stuff with here. And now we move on to the next segment here, and that's going to be the metal category. And I will say I picked up a lot more metal this time around, because I feel like there are times I neglect metal sometimes. I don't really buy as many in recent time, but I wanted to change that. So we have quite a bit of metal albums to get through. Some from very different subgenres. So I'll show this one first. We have Anthrax with their album Sound of White Noise. This is their 90s album, and I think this is the first one without their well-known singer. I think the new singer here is John Bush, I want to say. Let me just double check, make sure. Yep, I was right, John Bush. So I thought I might as well give this one a go because, you know, I like Anthrax, and I've heard a lot of Anthrax fans actually talk pretty highly of this one. And after giving it a listen, I just thought it was fine. I don't know, maybe because I'm so used to the other lead singer, I still haven't fully adjusted to John's vocal style. Because it's definitely more going in the more alternative route, because, you know, it's the 90s. Everyone's trying to get in with the Nirvana trend. I'm not saying this sounds like Nirvana. Like, it still has that Anthrax sound, but definitely with a more quote-unquote modern aesthetic. I think I still prefer the earlier catalog so far. But again, if you like this album, I'm not going to blame you. I don't blame you. Now, this month was also where I was really dipping my toes back into the more extreme side of metal. And we have a black metal album here. We have Battlestorm, and this album is called Demonic Incursion. Again, gotta love these black metal titles. This was a blind buy because I was getting a kick into the more extreme side of metal. And I saw this one in the record store, thought, why not? Give it a go. And I will say, I was kind of disappointed with this one, because even though it's supposed to be black metal, I gave it a listen, I'm like, this is not quite black metal to me. I'm becoming one of those black metal purists. But anyway, I'm not going to get too enthralled in that. But this to me sounded more death metal to me. So on that front, I was kind of disappointed, because I don't know, I have that expectation of what black metal should sound like at this point. And I don't know, this didn't quite live up to that. So I came off really lackluster. Again, I'm not saying this is a bad album per se, but again, it was just one of those albums where I came in with thinking one thing, but I was kind of fooled. Again, I don't know, but still, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, it adds more depth to the collection, I guess. And here we have the band Carcass. Now, they are a death metal band, and this album is called Heart Work. And this is definitely known as melodic death metal because the guitars are more melodic, not quite your usual, like, punch you in the face type of guitar. And yeah, this is a very solid album. Again, you still have that death metal, you know, the growls and all that stuff, but because it's more melodic, I found myself really enjoying the sound. Really good guitar work, and still very heavy, but still has that very, extreme side. It's all really well done. Most people say this is definitely the band's best. I haven't heard anything else from the band, but this is a pretty good one. So if I do check out more from Carcass, we'll see how the rest compare to this one, but this is a good first impression. Let's keep the death metal camp going with the band simply known as Death. And I picked up their first 2 albums. We have Scream Bloody Gore, and then after that we have the follow-up from 1988 with Leprosy. By the way, the first album came out in 87, I think. And you know, Death are very monumental in the progression of death metal. They're cited as one of the first bands in the genre, which makes sense. But I was really impressed with these. I mean, I haven't really delved that deep into death metal. I'm definitely more into the black metal scene a bit slightly. But listening to these 2 albums, it definitely gives me a much better appreciation for death metal, especially early on, because early on they definitely incorporated a lot more thrash elements to it, and I like thrash metal already, so I think that was definitely a good way to glide me into the genre a lot easier. But these 2 albums are really strong. I think I do prefer the debut a bit more. This album's still pretty solid, but maybe not as it's definitely not as immediate as this one, because I was really getting into this one. But again, you have all the hallmarks to what death metal would become later on, but still pretty primitive for the time. But you can definitely see where they're going to be going from here. But yeah, if you're gonna get into death metal, maybe start with the early black metal, not black metal, early death metal first. Kind of nice way to ease your way in, like I said. But let's of course go back to black metal with Enslaved, and this is their 1994 album known as Frost. Now, I've seen many people talk highly of Enslaved, and I want to check this out because this album usually gets a lot of love. And I will agree, I really dug this one. I think pretty much of all the metal albums I picked up, this is definitely one of my favorites. And even in terms of black metal, I think this is up there. Really great atmosphere. Like, again, that's the one thing I do like about black metal. That's probably why I kind of slightly prefer black metal over death metal, is because of the atmosphere you get. It's very cold. And it's called Frost, so yeah, it's very cold. Like you're in a blizzard and you're just being pelted with it. And it's interesting because they're also, at least on Wikipedia, they're also listed as Viking metal because their lyrics deal with Vikings and Norse mythology and all that stuff. So, I mean, granted, I couldn't understand them because, you know, black metal and they're from Norway. But still, really great. Again, if you're a black metal fan and you've not heard this album, check this out. I mean, I know there's, going back to the black metal purists, like, it may be too much for some people, maybe too clean, but I don't know, I thought it was fine. Still keeping with the black metal, we have a band I'm fairly familiar with. We have Immortal, and this is their debut album called Diabolical Full Moon Mysticism. Yeah, I think this is a really good debut. I mean, I have 2 other Immortal albums in the collection already, and those are 2 great ones, especially At the Heart of Winter. But this is definitely them in their more raw states, not quite as polished as they would become later. But for a debut, I thought it was pretty good. I see some people kind of talk down on this one, saying it doesn't really compare with some of the latter stuff. But I don't know. I think the debut is pretty good. I mean, it's still very, very extreme. Again, you know, production-wise, it's very raw sounding, but I still think it works fine. And I thought everyone in the band was pretty good. So yeah, I think definitely off to a good start. Again, I think I still prefer what they would do later on, but I think this is still a very important album. Also, Gene Simmons calls, he wants his fire breathing technique back. And then we have a bit more death metal. We have another pretty notable band. We have Morbid Angel, and this album is called Altars of Madness. Another one of those bands that are monumental in the progression of death metal. And this is another very good one. Again, I don't have much else to add because, again, if you know what death metal is, especially during this time, this is from '89, you pretty much know what to expect. But still, it's pretty good. Only 10 songs. Actually, yeah, it's 10 songs mostly, but then again, this one also comes with a bonus song. smack dab in the middle of the album for some reason. That's kind of an odd choice, but still, you know, again, I know I don't have much else to add, but still, it's good. It's good. Trust me. And the last album in this segment is yet again another death metal album, and this is called Seven Churches. It's from the band called Possessed. Now, for a lot of death metal historians, many would say this is pretty much the first true death metal album. Again, very primitive for the time because it's more inclined to more thrash, but again, the hallmarks of where the genre is going to go are all here because you have that very gravelly, very low, growly voice from the lead singer, and I wish I remember the lead singer's name. Definitely an important album, so that's one of the reasons why I wanted to get it, because it's very historically significant, and it's a very strong album. Very good debut. Again, very heavy. Just keeps moving through and through, and lyrically, again, has all the hallmarks, very graphic, and even the last song is literally called death metal. So there you go. But very good album, very strong, and yeah, very glad I have this in the collection now. And now we've come to the final segment of the video. We have the more straightforward rock / pop segment, and again, we have quite a bit to get through, but again, not too much, so this shouldn't be too bad. So next up, we have Badfinger yet again, but this is interesting. The album's called Head First, and there is some history with this. So this was an album that came out in 2000, but this was actually an album they had shelved because, you know, the band was going through turmoils by this point. We all know the history at this point, hopefully. So they had the songs ready, but due to the legal stuff and, again, the bad luck with Badfinger is very prevalent. But regardless of the actual specifics, the record label decided to shelve this album, and it just kind of remained kind of hidden for a long time. But then, like I said, in 2000, they decided to release this album to the public. And apparently, funny enough, I got this version, but I think I've seen that they just came out with a new version of this, with slightly remastered and all that stuff. So, I don't know. I think I'm fine with getting this for now. Granted, this, I think you can get the new one for cheaper, because I think I got this one a bit more money for this one. But still, that aside, I think despite it being a more forgotten album, I think it's pretty solid. I think the songs, again, are very revealing, because there's a song called Hey Mr. Manager, which, again, we all know their management was not that great at this point. But it still has that Badfinger sound. You know, all the songs still sound pretty good. Of course, if you do get this early version, it's not quite in the authentic track listing, because if you get the new one, it's more authentic to what they would have released in terms of where they would put each song. But you still get all the songs here, and you even get a second disc on here with demos and bonus tracks and all that stuff. So I think it's a pretty good package, I guess. But again, is it essential? Maybe not necessarily. But again, if you want to give this album a listen to, and just by the history alone intrigues you, then yeah, you might find some good songs on here, like I did. And here is a obscure band. The band is called Black Sheep. It's their self-titled from 1975. Despite the band being not as well known, you might know the lead singer here, and that guy is Lou Gramm. Of course, by this point, he's known as Louis Grammantico. Very interesting last name there. But yeah, this is one of the bands Lou Gramm was in before he would help form Foreigner, and it's pretty good. I really dug this album. Just your typical, you know, mid-70s rock. Great guitar work on this. The rest of the band was pretty good. And again, if you love Lou Gramm, then you'll really like this one, because it still sounds like him. But it's just an interesting album to get if you want to hear more early Lou Gramm. But he was still pretty much in full form by this point. But yeah, if you want to check out the album on that alone, I would recommend it because it's pretty good. Very strong stuff. And after that, we have Eric Carmen with his self-titled debut, his first solo album, because he was in a band called the Raspberries originally, and sadly I don't have any Raspberries in the collection. I should really fix that at some point. So this album is known for the big hit, and that is All By Myself. Of course, I know that song because... And of course, many people have covered the song as well. I think Celine Dion also did a pretty well-known cover of it. But the rest of the album is pretty decent. I wouldn't say I love this one because, you know, Eric was kind of infusing a lot of classical stuff onto the album, which, hey, that's fine. I think he was a big classical music fan. I don't know, the rest of the songs aside from All By Myself range from pretty good to it's alright. So yeah, I would say this album is not fully my cup of tea, but you know, Eric still has a very solid voice, and when it worked, it worked. But you know, again, whether I'll go back to this one, probably not too often, but you know, still solid. And here's an artist I have not listened to in a long time. We have Elvis Costello, and this album is This Year's Model. So yeah, I have his debut album. I haven't heard that one in a while too. But most people say this is one of his best, and again, kind of similar to Eric Carmen. I like it. I like some of it, but I don't know. This could be one of those albums I need to give more listens to, because it's very kind of punky, also new wavy. So I should like it, but I don't know. It hasn't fully clicked yet. I don't know. Elvis has a very distinct voice. Again, I don't mind it, but I don't know, sometimes it doesn't quite work with me. And some of the music also didn't quite hit. But again, like I said, this could be an example of an album I need to give more chances to. So maybe it will change down the line. We'll see. Now we have Roberta Flack with Killing Me Softly. I actually got this one along with another one, which we'll get to later, which I actually found at a garage sale. I don't really go to garage sales that often, but hey, they were advertising CDs, so I had to look, and it was kind of a bust. But I did get Leave With Two, and this is one of them. And yeah, Killing Me Softly, you know, the big hits, that's a great song. This is a great R&B soulful album with some little blues tendencies here and there. 8 songs on this, and it's a very enjoyable album. Very chill album, which I do dig. But only 8 songs, like I said, and yeah, not much else to say, but really nice album to just kind of lean back, relax, and just enjoy the moment. Maybe too slow for some people, but hey, I don't mind it. So, really nice. Really glad I got that one. And here we have Hall & Oates with their album, Abandoned Luncheonette. So, I forgot, I think this might be their second or third album. So, I know it's part of the early period for the band, or for the duo, I should say. And it's a pretty strong album. I really like this. Of course, I know my friend Scott, he did a kind of little deep dive on them, and he says, of their 70s albums, this is the only good one. So take that for what you will, but you know, this is still them really early. Still haven't quite hit that commercial breakthrough they would get later on. But there's still some pretty nice songs on here. I know the song I'm probably the most familiar with because I know Scott kind of suggested this on my Patreon page to listen to. And that is Every Time I Look at You. Pretty good kind of album closer. It's 7 minutes. I wouldn't think Hall & Oates would do like a longer song, but they actually did fairly well. But yeah. So yeah, I think it's worth checking out if you're curious. I'm not going to say it's going to be like it's gonna wow you or anything, but for a more early Hall & Oates album, this is definitely one of the better ones I've heard. Because I'm kind of the same boat in terms of albums, especially in the 70s. They're not quite essential listening. I mean, the big hits are great, but the rest of the albums are usually kind of fine. But yeah, you might be surprised with this one. And here's the other album I picked up at the garage sale. We have the Jeff Healey Band with See the Lights. I actually have heard of Jeff Healey. I've seen some videos with him playing guitar, and he sounds great. And I remember, if I remember correctly, he's actually legally blind, so very impressive to say the least. And it's a pretty good album. Again, very bluesy. It's kind of like your more usual late 80s blues rock. But still has a really good energy to it. I think the guitar work goes without saying. And Jeff's vocals are pretty decent. I'm not saying he's amazing or anything, but you know, it's good for what it is. So yeah, I like this one. Again, this type of rock music, especially this late in the 80s, I don't usually gravitate towards because it starts to get kind of generic sounding. But this is pretty decent, so I think it's still worth a listen at least. And then we have Humble Pie with Smokin'. This is one I also wanted to get for quite a while. This is the first album without Peter Frampton in the band because he had left prior. Then you have Clem Clemens on guitar this time, on the second guitar I would say. And again, very good rock album. I mean, Steve Marriott's vocals, very strong. And even though they don't have Peter Frampton on here, I think you don't really miss them, I would say, which is, take that for what you will. But yeah, it's a very well done, again, very bluesy, but still rocks out, very good. Yeah, I mean, I like Humble Pie. They're a band I really should deep dive more because, you know, they're very highly respected. But again, very glad I was able to get this eventually. And of course, some of you should have known I would show this one because I actually did a little sneak peek of this one in my CD player video recently, where it makes a small cameo. But I did get it during this month, so there you go. And now we're back to the more obscure stuff. We have a band called Rough Diamond. This is their self-titled album from 1977. They're a one-and-done band. They only released the one album and then they broke up. But the reason why I heard about them, shout out to Irish Flink. He actually commented on my Uriah Heep video. And he mentioned this album because the lead singer is David Byron from Uriah Heep. Because this is the band he formed not long after he was fired from the band. So he brought in Clem Clemens, who again, from Humble Pie. Funny how we kind of went back to back there. And they teamed up, they've made this band. And like I said, they only did the one album and then they kind of peter off after that. But interesting. So if you're a Uriah Heep fan, yeah, definitely, I would say, seek this one out because I really dug it. Again, not quite as like on the same level as Uriah Heep, which, you know, to be expected. But again, David's vocals, excellent still. And even the guitar work from Clem is very strong. Very good stuff on here. Only 9 songs, but I think it's a pretty good listen all the way through. Probably one of my favorite songs is Sea Song. I mean, it's more of a slower song. It's kind of more ballady, if you will, but 7.5 minutes. And that's where David's vocals shine to me. But again, the rest of the album is pretty good. Not everything's like, I mean, I wouldn't say everything is amazing. There's more by the numbers, rock numbers on this. But again, for the fact that you have David Byron on here, again, I think that's worth checking out. So yeah, very nice discovery. And now we have 4 albums from the same band, and they're pretty well known, I would say. I know their Greatest Hits is one of the best-selling ones, but we have the Steve Miller Band. We have The Joker from 1973, and then following that we have Fly Like an Eagle, a couple years later though. And then we have Book of Dreams, I think this is from 77. And then the last one I was able to pick up was Abracadabra from 1982. So, you know, Steve Miller Band, again, I only know like a couple songs, but never really delved deep to them. And I found 4 at the record store, so might as well go on a little mini deep dive, I will say. And I will say, their albums are pretty good. Again, there could be some albums I need to give more listens to, but we'll start with The Joker. Again, I will say the back cover is freaky as hell, but The Joker, pretty strong, pretty good. Of course, this had the title track, which is pretty one of their big songs. This is more bluesy, But still, very well done. Don't have much else to add, but aside from the freaky back cover, but I'm trying not to look at it. But still, pretty decent. This one though, Fly Like an Eagle, I wasn't quite into. Not only were they doing bluesy, more blues rock, but they were also going for a more space rock approach, because some of the songs kind of go for a more spacey sort of vibe. I mean, the first song is literally called Space Intro, if that tells you anything. Again, it's fine, but I would say this is definitely my least favorite of the four here. But I think this one is probably my favorite, Book of Dreams. This is them going in a more proggy sort of vein, but still nothing too, there's no like 10-minute song on here. It's still like more accessible, but very enjoyable. Really good production on this, and really good melodic stuff going on. Again, this is one I want to check out, want to listen to some more, because I feel like this could grow on me with more repeated listens. But this one's also was actually pretty good. Of course, this is when they were incorporating more new wave into the sound, and I thought it surprisingly worked for me. I don't know how most Steve Miller fans find this new wave approach, but I thought it was pretty good. Of course, the title track was a big hit, but yeah, I really dug these two. Like, these two were definitely the big ones I would recommend. The Joker you could probably check out too, but I'm not sure about this one yet. So after taking a look at Steve Miller, like, I definitely do like a lot of his stuff. I'm not going to say like I'm going to be like a huge fan of him or anything, but again, there's some good songs on these four, and yeah, I think there's a couple of them are worth checking out. And then we've come to the final CD in the haul, and we have Neil Young and Crazy Horse to be exact. We have Everybody Knows This Is Nowhere. Another one of those Neil Young albums I've been meaning to check out, and yeah, this one did not disappoint. Definitely better than the debut, I would say. Like, I was not really as into his first album. A bit too on the country side for me. But this was definitely a big step up. I mean, you have Crazy Horse, which gives the songs a more rocking sound, and they really are great contributors here. It's shocking not that long of an album. I mean, you have Cinnamon Girl, which is, again, a big song from him. Down by the River is great. And then Cowgirl in the Sand is also really nice. So I think top to bottom, this is a really good one. I don't think this was still that big of a seller originally, if I remember correctly, but nowadays it's considered one of his classics, and very glad. So we'll see if I pick up more Neil Young. I know there's tons of his albums I still don't have, but we'll see if there's any more I'm interested in. We'll see how we go down the road, but there we go. Okay, so we're nearing the end of the video, but I want to do one more thing before we go. I went ahead and I ranked all these albums. Now, I'm not going to go one by one. That would take way too long. So I did this beforehand. So I'm going to show the title card right now with all these albums ranked in the order in which I like them. And like I said, I'm probably going to do this moving forward just as a little bonus, you know. I think it'd be fun. And kind of a shame I didn't do this earlier in the year, because of course January and February have passed. But don't worry, because just real quick, I'm going to showcase the rankings of those months as well. So here is the one for January, and then after that we have February, which again was a big month. So you can pause those title cards so you can take a deeper look at those. And I'm probably going to do this again moving forward. I won't spend too much time, but just a little fun here. And we'll see how all those rankings combine at the end of the month, where I do my actual top 50 discoveries, and maybe even the worst. But still, hopefully you'll find that enjoyable. But besides that, I think that will do it for this monthly CD haul. If you enjoyed this, please give this video a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and like I said before, comment below your thoughts on any of the albums I showcased, and feel free to share what you picked up this month. Again, I will see you next time. Take care, and goodbye for now.